It's always the same hour, not because darkness has more power after midnight, not because God leaves the room when the lights go off, not because the devil suddenly becomes stronger at night. It's because 11 p.m. is your doorway, the time your guard drops, your body is depleted, your mind is loud, your emotions are hungry, and your routine quietly whispers, just a little relief. And you keep calling it normal, even though it's been stealing your fire for months. You know this pattern so well, you could almost predict the ending before it starts. You feel the dip. The tiredness that's not just physical, the kind of tired that makes your soul want a shortcut, the kind of tired that makes your heart want to disappear for a minute. You've been responsible all day. You've been good. You've handled people, pressure, problems, these expectations. You've held your tongue. You've shown up. You've survived. And now, when the world finally goes quiet, you don't feel peaceful. You feel exposed. Because quiet doesn't just bring rest. Quiet brings truth. Quiet brings feelings. Quiet brings that ache you've been avoiding. Quiet brings the question you don't want to answer. Why do I still feel empty even when I'm busy? And right there, right at that moment, your flesh reaches for the easiest comfort it knows. Not because you're evil, because you're human. And because your brain has been trained, discomfort means escape. So your thumb starts moving before your spirit has time to speak. One scroll, one video, one just checking something, one I deserve this, one I'll pray after I relax. And the crazy part is, it really does feel harmless at first. That's why it works. 11 p.m. isn't usually a loud temptation. It's a soft invitation, a doorway cracked open, a warm-up, a match in your pocket. And you keep arguing with the match while praying God will stop the fire. Then later, when you're foggy, when you feel distant, when prayer feels dry, when conviction feels like a weak notification you can swipe away, you ask, what's wrong with me? Here's the truth that will sting for a second, but save you for years. Nothing is wrong with you in the way you fear. You are not cursed. You are not hopeless. You are not just weak. You are trained. And what is trained can be retrained. But only if you stop treating 11 p.m. like a surprise attack and start treating it like what it really is, a scheduled doorway, a predictable window, a routine you've been rehearsing. Because you don't fall at midnight. You fall earlier when you start building the runway. And the runway always looks similar, even if the details change. You get depleted. You get alone. You get emotionally hungry. You keep access open. You begin the warm-up. And then you act shocked when the appetite demands more. That's not mystery. That's a system. So tonight we stop fighting the fire at the end. We stop begging for strength at the last step. We stop trying to be heroic when the urge is already loud, and we do something far more powerful. We lock the doorway. Not with hype, not with guilt, with design, with wisdom, with a plan that works when you're tired, not just when you're motivated. Because let me tell you something about tired you. Tired you is not the same person as clear you. Clear you loves God. Clear you wants holiness. Clear you wants peace. Clear you wants to be soft again. Clear you wants prayer to feel real. Clear you wants to wake up without shame. Clear you wants to stop repeating the same story. But tired you doesn't want a sermon. Tired you wants relief, fast. Tired you wants a hit of dopamine. Tired you wants distraction. Tired you wants the shortest path to numbness. So if your whole plan for spiritual victory is, I'll just resist when it gets hard, you're building a plan that depends on the weakest version of you to make the strongest decision. That is not a fair fight. And God is not asking you to keep fighting unfair. He's inviting you into wisdom. Wisdom is not proving you can stand near the trap. Wisdom is building distance before you burn. Wisdom is saying, I'm not going to keep meeting the enemy in the same room, at the same hour, with the same access and call it a struggle. I'm going to change the setup. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to admit. You keep praying for deliverance while keeping the door unlocked. You keep asking for strength while keeping the trigger one tap away. You keep crying about the fire while sleeping with matches under your pillow. And grace is not only forgiveness after the fall. Grace is power before the fall. Grace is God whispering, stop calling this normal. Lock the door, build a fence, protect your ending. because your ending becomes the seed of your morning. End your night with noise, and you wake up craving noise. End your night with escape, and you wake up restless. End your night with warm-up content, and you wake up foggy. End your night with God, quietly, simply, honestly, and you start waking up softer. Not perfect, but alive. And some of you haven't felt alive in a while, not because your faith died, because your attention was stolen, because your system was flooded, because your heart was trained for speed, and intimacy with God requires something modern life keeps killing. Presence, not performance. Presence, not long prayers. Presence, not dramatic moments. Presence. And presence is impossible when your mind is addicted to motion. So let's talk about the 11 p.m. doorway like grown people. It has 4 locks. If you don't install these locks, you will keep walking through the doorway no matter how inspired you feel today. Time, place, access, ritual. Time is when you're vulnerable. Place is where you drift. Access is what makes drifting easy. Ritual is the sequence you repeat to unwind. If those 4 things stay the same, your results stay the same. So you don't need a new personality. You need a new setup. Because the enemy doesn't need new tricks when you keep offering the same opening. So tonight, we identify your doorway and lock it. And I'm going to keep this real, because vague spirituality keeps people stuck. Your doorway probably opens in one of these ways. You lie down with your phone just to relax. You get in bed and tell yourself you'll stop soon. You open social media just to check something. You watch harmless content that stirs appetite. You isolate in a dark room where nobody will interrupt you. You stay up too late, and exhaustion makes obedience feel optional. You scroll because you don't want to feel lonely. You scroll because you don't want to think. You scroll because silence feels like pressure. And the enemy loves that, because scrolling is not just entertainment. Scrolling is training. It trains your brain that relief is instant. It trains your heart that discomfort should be avoided. It trains your soul to treat conviction like an inconvenience. It trains you to swipe away mercy. And mercy often shows up as a pause, a small hesitation, a little check in your chest, a tiny thought. Don't. That's not anxiety. That's grace. That's God giving you an exit while the door is still small. But if you keep ignoring that exit, you train your soul to delay response, and delayed response becomes weaker response, and weaker response becomes rare response, and rare response becomes numbness. So one day you wake up and say, I don't feel convicted anymore. And you think that's peace. But it's not peace. It's a smoke alarm with the battery removed. The fire still destroys, but the warning is quieter. So the question isn't, does God still speak? The question is, do I respond when He does? Because responsiveness is the fire starter, not emotion, not hype, not fear, responsiveness. And the doorway is where your responsiveness is tested. Not at the big fall, at the first warm-up. So let's build your doorway lock plan. Not a dramatic vow, not a promise you'll break in 3 days. A simple system that works when you're tired. Because tired, you needs a plan. And this plan has one goal. Make it easier to obey at 10:45 p.m. than to drift at 11:15 p.m. Because most people lose, because compromise is convenient. So we flip it. We make obedience convenient. We make compromise inconvenient. And yes, your pride will hate that. Because pride wants to prove, I can handle it. Wisdom says, I don't need to prove anything. I need to protect my fire. So here's the plan. And I want you to treat it like instructions, not inspiration. Step 1, name your doorway time, not late night. The specific time, 11 p.m., 11:20 p.m., 12, 10 a.m. The hour the loop usually begins, because naming the time kills confusion. Confusion keeps you passive. Clarity makes you dangerous, so you write it down. My doorway opens at 10:00. Now step 2, set a fence start time. This is the most important part. If your doorway opens at 11 p.m., your fence starts earlier. 10:15 p.m., 10:30 p.m., 10:45 p.m. Because nobody wins by waiting until the urge is loud. Your breakthrough is not at midnight. Your breakthrough is before midnight, because midnight is emotional. 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. are strategic. So you decide, my fence begins at Shaki Boyratiks, and the fence is not a feeling. A fence is a design choice, a decision you make while you're clear, so tired you doesn't have to negotiate later. Now, step 3. Close access. This is where people keep lying to themselves. They think they have a willpower problem. No, most people have an access problem. If the trigger is within reach, the fall becomes easy. And tired, you always chooses the easiest option. So you stop trusting tired you with unlimited access. That is not legalism. That is love. So what does closing access look like? It looks like moving the phone away from your bed. Not face down. Away. Across the room. Outside the room if possible. It looks like charging your phone in another space. It looks like turning on an app lock. It looks like unfollowing accounts that warm your appetite. It looks like deleting the app for 7 days. It looks like removing private browsing access. It looks like reducing the feed that always leads to the same path. Because if you keep the door open, you're still negotiating with fire, and warm-ups don't get managed, they get removed. Now, step 4, replace the ritual. Because your drift is not random. It's a ritual, a sequence your brain knows. Bed to phone to scroll to warm up to craving to drift to regret. Stress to isolation to I deserve this to scroll to numbness to regret. Boredom to just check to warm up to drift to regret. So you need a new ritual. Not a vibe, a sequence. Because your brain learns sequences faster than it learns sermons. So give your brain a new path. Here's one that's simple enough to do when you're exhausted. 3 slow breaths, shoulders down, jaw unclench. 1 honest sentence out loud. Jesus, I'm at the doorway. Help me obey now. 6 to 10 verses of scripture, not to perform, to listen. 1 minute of stillness, 1 minute only. 1 small obedience decision for tomorrow. Then sleep earlier than usual. That's it. And your mind will try to mock it. It's boring. Good. Boring is safe at first, because the old ritual was exciting, and it was killing you. Peace is often quiet, and quiet will feel uncomfortable if you've been drowning in noise. That discomfort is not proof God is absent. That discomfort is proof you're detoxing. Now, here's what will happen when you lock the doorway for the first few nights. You will feel restless. Your mind will start bargaining. You'll feel the pull. You'll suddenly need to check something. You'll remember random tasks. You'll feel irritation. You'll feel boredom. And your brain will scream, this isn't working. That scream is withdrawal. It's the habit fighting for survival. Stay. Because your fire is on the other side of staying. Now, I need to address something that will free you if you let it. Most of you aren't addicted to sin. You're addicted to relief. Relief from stress, relief from loneliness, relief from boredom, relief from anxiety, relief from pressure. The doorway opens when you feel something you don't want to feel, and the habit offers an immediate anesthetic. So the real question isn't only, how do I stop the behavior? It's, what am I trying to avoid feeling? That question ends the trance, because darkness thrives on vagueness, light thrives on specifics, and what you won't name, you will medicate. So at 10:55 p.m., when you feel the pull, ask yourself, what am I trying to avoid feeling right now? Is it loneliness? Is it stress? Is it shame? Is it pressure? Is it fear about tomorrow? Is it boredom? Is it the ache of being unseen? Name it. Then bring that real need to God in one sentence, not religious, real. Father, I feel lonely. Jesus, I feel pressure. Holy Spirit, I feel empty. One honest sentence is more powerful than a long fake prayer. Because God is not impressed by performance. He is honored by honesty. And now let's talk about the most dangerous lie that keeps the doorway open. I'll pray after. That sentence has murdered more spiritual fire than most people realize, because it's not rebellion. It's delay. And delay is the most polite form of disobedience. It sounds harmless. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like you're still in control. But later is where spiritual fire goes to die. Not because God leaves, because your heart gets trained to treat him as optional. So tonight, you replace after with now, not with a dramatic hour-long routine, with a small, stubborn decision inside the doorway window. Now. Now is where you win. Now is where you respond. Now is where you take the exit. And this is where I give you the emergency tool, the thing you do when you feel yourself about to step through the doorway. Freeze. Oh, speak, move, freeze, stop the motion, stop the scroll, stop the click, stop your hand. Speak one sentence out loud, not in your head, out loud. Whisper if you have to. Jesus, I'm at the doorway. Help me obey now. Or, this is mercy. I will honor it. Move. Change location immediately. Stand up. Turn on a light. Leave the room. Wash your face. Drink water. Step outside. Sit where someone could walk in. Temptation grows in passivity. Motion breaks spells. Light breaks secrecy. Speaking breaks agreement. This is not superstition. It's wisdom. Because the doorway thrives on one thing, you staying still and silent while your mind negotiates. So you refuse to negotiate. You move. And the moment you move, the trance weakens. Now, let's get painfully honest about why 11 p.m. keeps beating you. Because your environment is winning. Your environment is stronger than your intentions. Your phone is too close. Your bed has become a battlefield. Your room has become a trigger. Your feed is unfiltered. Your night is unstructured. Your body is exhausted. And you keep expecting tired you to make a holy decision in the exact setup that has defeated you 50 times. That is not discipline. That is carelessness. And again, I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying it because it's hopeful. Because if the setup is the problem, the setup can be changed. So stop trying to feel strong. Build strong. Build fences. Build distance. Build a routine that protects you. Because you don't lock your front door at night because you're scared. You lock it because you're wise. So stop calling boundaries extreme when they're just protection. Now, and I want to talk to the person who's already thinking, I've tried before and I failed. I believe you. But here's the question that will show you the truth. Did you try with the door still cracked open? Did you try while still keeping access? Did you try with the phone still in bed? Did you try while still feeding the warm-up content during the day? Did you try alone with no plan? Because most people say they tried boundaries, but what they mean is they made a weak rule that depended on feelings. I'll stop at 11. I'll be careful. I'll try to resist. No. That's not a fence, that's a suggestion. A fence is something tired, you can't easily debate. A fence is distance. A fence is deletion. A fence is locks. A fence is design. So don't conclude nothing works. Instead, ask, where is the hole in my fence? Because failure is data. It shows you where the doorway is still open. Patch the doorway. That's training. Training is not perfection. Training is progression. Now, let's lock this into a 7-night challenge, because if you don't make it practical, your brain will turn it into a nice message and then go right back to the doorway tomorrow. 7 nights. Not forever. 7 nights. Because your mind will try to say, I'll do it when life calms down. Life might not calm down, so you start now. Night 1. Identify your doorway time and your fence start time. Write it, make it real. Night 2, move your phone away from your bed, across the room or outside the room. No debate. Night 3, change the place. During the doorway window, you do not lie down in bed. Bed is for sleep, not scrolling. Night 4, remove one warm-up trigger, one account, one app, one feed that always leads you down the path. Night 5, replace the ritual with the night anchor. 3 breaths to 1 sentence to scripture, to 1 minute stillness, to 1 obedience decision to sleep. Night 6. Add 1 connection, a simple text to someone safe. I'm protecting my night, pray for me. Secrecy feeds the doorway, light kills it. Night 7. Lock the morning first reach, 2 minutes with God before phone, because what you reach for first rules you. And by the end of 7 nights, you'll notice something that will shock you. The doorway still shows up, but it starts losing power. Not because temptation died, because you stopped being surprised, you stopped being passive, you stopped meeting it in the same conditions, you started winning earlier. You started honoring mercy. And mercy gets louder when you respond to it. That's the part people don't realize. Conviction doesn't vanish first. Responsiveness vanishes first. God still warns you, but you stop responding. So when you start responding again, quickly, consistently, your sensitivity returns. Your tenderness returns. your clarity returns. Prayer starts feeling real again, not because you suddenly became emotional, but because you finally stayed long enough to be present. Because prayer is not just words. Prayer is attention aimed at God, and attention is a muscle. If you train it on speed and noise all day, it will hate stillness at night, so you retrain it. And retraining is not glamorous. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's stubborn. It's small decisions at the exact moment you usually drift. And those small decisions are where your identity changes. Because the enemy's biggest goal is not to make you hate God. It's to make you comfortable living with God at a distance, not rejecting Him, just delaying Him, not attacking your faith, just drowning it in noise. So tonight you stop letting delay rule you. Tonight you stop letting later keep killing your fire. Tonight you stop calling this drift normal. Tonight you lock the 11 p.m. doorway. Not because you're trying to become a monk, because you want your life back. Because you want your tenderness back, because you want your mornings back, because you want to pray and feel present again, because you're tired of waking up foggy and heavy and confused. So here's your tonight plan. Simple, direct, no negotiation. Decide your doorway time.